Yeah, so it turns out re experiencing repressed memories isn't very fun, especially when they involve nearly getting killed by a bloodthirsty monster. When the memory ended, time began rapidly speeding up. Soon I felt myself get brought back to the present with such tremendous force it knocked me back. My vision doubled and the room spun for a couple of seconds before everything came back into focus. I sat up groggily with my forehead bumping. Pardon my French, but what the fuck was that? A necessary step in curing your friend. The things you've seen are quite terrifying. You saw all that too? Yes, and I think I know what's happening to him. Really? What? I believe he's becoming that toad creature you saw. What? All my grogginess left me, replacing me with a case of what I tend to call the fuck nose. These occur when something I don't want to happen might happen. Shit was already scary enough for us. We did not need Nick turning into a were-toad or whatever the hell you'd call it. How do we fix him? I asked, panicked. There's no way we're leaving him like this. Relax. Oh, sorry. I sat down, trying to calm myself. What do we need to do? Carl asked. As I've said, this will take a long while. There's only one creature whose blood will be pure enough to cleanse him, and that would be a unicorn. Our optimism dropped faster than a heavy stone dropped into a lake. Beside the issue of finding a unicorn, they aren't friendly, contrary to popular belief. I remember reading another poster's account of meeting them and made a mental note to take his advice. However, the situation at hand was requiring me to disregard it. Where exactly are we supposed to find one? I asked. Last I checked, they aren't exactly roaming the countryside. Indeed, they are solitary and often unapproachable creatures whose wrath is not to incur. However, under certain circumstances, currying favor with them is possible. And those would be, I cannot say, but I can help you find one. She looked at Carl. Follow me. Watch Nick, Pete. If he starts throwing up again, prop his head up. Got it. Carl left with the old woman. They returned shortly later with Carl holding a small burlap sack. What's in there? I'll explain on the way. On the way where? Just grab your crutches and come outside. Without another word, Carl left. How long does he have? From the looks of it, I'd say about a week before he transforms completely. Jesus, we don't have long then. Then you'd better hurry. I propped Nick up in case of vomiting. Hang in there, buddy. We'll be back with that unicorn blood before you know it. I left as well. Carl was sitting, waiting for me in the car when I got outside. Once I got in, he backed up, speeding away from the house. Where are we going? We need to find a large clearing. This bag contains what we need to find the unicorns. Can I look inside? Yeah, but don't drop anything. And tie it back tight when you're done. In the bag was a rolled up piece of paper along with 3 more jars. The first contained more flower petals, and the other various powders. Both contained colors matching that of a rainbow. What intrigued me the most was the content of the third jar. It held what seemed to be a long strand of white fur. What's this? I asked, holding it up. That is unicorn fur. It's the main key to what we need to do. For the love of Christ, do not lose it. He proceeded to explain that all these things were for a ritual. Apparently, one way to find unicorns is either during the light of dawn or dusk, the latter in our case. A ritual could be performed that would show a pathway to which the home of the unicorns could be found. The instructions for it were written on the paper. By the time we found a clearing, the sun was already beginning to set. "What's the first step?" Carl asked me. I was to read the instructions while he performed the other requirements for the ritual. "Step 1. Place the powder on the nearest tree." "All right," Carl replied, taking some of the powder and patting it onto the tree that I was leaning against. "Okay, step 2 is pouring out the petals and then letting the wind carry them away. Supposedly, the pathway will appear in whichever direction they get blown in." Carl did just that, and the wind blew the petals away to his left and my right. "The last step is to hold up the fir to the light while someone chants the following below." Below that was a poem which I read aloud. "On 4 legs, with horned heads they stand. Proud and tall, the sight of them is truly grand. With galloping that sounds like thunder, their eyes are filled with wisdom and wonder. Beware not to take them lightly, for their moods can darken quickly. Their blood is said to cure all but death, but getting it may leave you taking your last breath. Should this warning be disregarded, your wits will help to keep you guarded. To find them, a path must open. Under the right light, it will glisten." That poem only served to deepen my tension about what we were going to do. When I finished reading, we looked to see where the path would be. Sure enough, it did appear. From between the far-off trees, a rainbow path started stretching toward us. It connected with the powder tree and sparkled beautifully under the dusklight. "You know," Carl said, "I'm kinda wishing we brought a camera. I mean, a photo of one of them would probably go for millions." "Yeah, but I get the feeling trying to take one of them might really piss them off." "Point taken. Well, let's try to hurry up with this." The path led us to a new forest. This one contained rainbow-colored trees with gold and silver leaves. The sky was now a light purple with 2 suns accompanying it. "What is this place?" I asked, almost mesmerized by how dazzling the scenery was. "The unicorn's home. It's beautiful, but we're not here to sightsee. Keep your eyes peeled." "Right. By the way, how exactly are we going to get blood from one?" Carl responded by patting the gun in his pocket. "You're going to kill one?" I asked, raising my voice some. "Damn it, Pete, don't be so loud," Carl replied with a hiss. "Oh, sorry." I reduced my voice to a whisper. "But do you think that'll work?" "Only one way to find out. Honestly, I'm hoping I can just wound one without killing it." "Actually, isn't it kind of weird that we haven't seen any yet?" "Now that you mention it, yeah. Then again, we haven't been on this path for very long, so we'll probably see one soon." Despite both of us refusing to acknowledge it, there was an uneasiness in the air. I knew that we both had the same feeling because it's one people have become accustomed to in our town. It was the feeling of being watched. Eventually, it got to be too much for me, and I had to say something. "Carl." "I know. Keep looking ahead." Suddenly, a sound reached us that sounded like thunder. Realizing what was causing it, we climbed up one of the trees. From all directions they came onto the path and were as tall as I'd heard. They surrounded the tree, looking up at us with rage-filled eyes. "Well, this doesn't look good," I said, tightening my grip on the trunk I held onto.